Welcome, everyone, to this episode of Enlightened Masculinity. We have a very special episode, and we'll get into that in just a second. It's a key sentence that we came across, a magical sentence, which we're going to unpack. This sentence is going to be contrary to a lot of your beliefs, but you indulge. Allow us the opportunity to convince you of some deeper wisdom. It's going to be highly entertaining, and in the end, if, like us, you assimilate the sentence, it will give you power, because all power is found from within. Welcome to Enlightened Masculinity. I am one of your co-hosts, Yogi Chris, PhD, founder of Ninth Limb Yoga, author of many books, host of many podcasts. I travel the world teaching yoga, and also have a PhD in the human universities. These are our opinions that we're sharing with you. So when we unpack some word magic, when we unpack this magical sentence, what it does for you, truly be an adult about it, assimilate it for yourself. Does it work for you? I think it will, but we're going to find out. This podcast has a co-host. He is a biotech research analyst for the biggest drug companies in the world, living in New Jersey, also a registered yoga teacher and starting up his yoga following there in Montclair, New Jersey. Rising Suns, I believe it's called. Welcome to the show, Akash Inti Katakam.
What's up, brother? You failed to neglect that we are entertainers as well, so take whatever we have with a grain of salt, as this is only entertainment. So we hope you enjoy the show, and before we continue, be aware that we are having an event April 6th. I believe it's a Saturday, and we'll be talking about a couple things. So if you're interested in joining, you can reach out to one of us, and we will send you the details. Nonetheless, yeah, Yogi Chris, I mean, the sentence that we were talking about yesterday, we had a phone call yesterday, catching up on a couple things. And if I remember correctly, the sentence, it was intolerance leads to, I want to say it's the cutting of your personal power. This kind of came about through an AZD mentorship discussion. And as we were talking through the topic itself, the subject, it was around how it's important not to tolerate anything that violates your ethics. So what are ethics? Ethics is your personal code of conduct. So how do you live your life, and what are the rules that govern your life that no matter what, you will not break? So an example of this might be, it's in my ethics not to kill like children or something like that. And so there's no scenario in my life that I'll ever encounter that would make sense for me to kill a child. And so so this is an example of ethics. And so we have different rules that govern our lives, and this is where we derive our personal power. So when we see others who are around us and they're violating our ethics, or if you see someone around you and you see them kill a child, that's a violation of your ethics. And so if you allow that to happen near you, you're buying into it. So this was an idea that we were toying back and forth with. Yogi Chris, I wanted to hear your thoughts on this. If this makes sense, if you agree, disagree. We didn't get into the details of it, and this is something I'm really, really interested in unpacking further with you. So.
Yes, let's unpack it, because it comes from a teaching from Arash Sapar, talking about tolerating people's communication around you. And we might even need to close this because of here, I'll close this.
It's an incredible way of being when you're in line with it as well, and when you're aware of your own ethics.
Yeah, I mean, and that's I don't even know what that term means, really. I haven't studied it that much, and I'm sure there's really rigorous definitions for it, and it's something that I would really like to know more about. I'm doing other things, but I'm sure it will come into my life. It's the idea of ethics or integrity. I get that, on whatever level that I get it at right now. And originally, Arash's teaching was, you're tolerating too much communication that you don't want around you. You're too tolerant of other people's negativity or their, the communication that you don't want. An easy one, kill a baby, or kill a, whatever. It's funny because I just watched Marco Polo, and there's this scene where Kublai Khan, who's the grandson of Genghis Khan, owned like $100 trillion worth of like land and whatever, the richest man that ever lived. And, he killed a 6-year-old boy. But he did it in a way that was like, I mean, shit, that's a really hard decision to make. I don't know that I would have made his decision, but I mean, he wasn't insane. He was just doing something. It was fascinating how through a story you can identify a situation you would probably never yourself encounter, but it's like there's an ethical or a moral conundrum there. And it's like, I feel for that guy. Why is it that you can feel for a guy that you've never experienced that situation? You're never going to experience that situation. That's so fascinating to me. So, but take it, bring it a little bit more home, complaining. Like that's easier. That's an easier thing to identify than killing a child. Like I don't tolerate complaining around me. In my closer circles, when I'm like out socializing or even around like students or whatever, depending on how dense the class is, like I'm not trying to control everyone around me. The people closest to me, like don't complain. Complain, I'm going to correct you. Like an alpha wolf, I'm going to nibble at you. You cannot be around me and be complaining. It's not tolerant. I don't tolerate it. And to the degree that I do tolerate it, all right, I don't want to get into the teachings of Arash. You can join his mentorship program and get that. Or join the Silent Flute program, which I'm giving a lecture after this in about an hour. And I may or may not go into that. I mean, we're going over Master Key System right now, which is the law of attraction, basically the logical progression of how to apply it. For example, I'm living the life that I dreamed up 2.5 or 3.5 years ago when Arash Zapar first asked me, well, if you could do anything, what would it be? What would success look like for you? And then we unpacked that and went into some questions. And so he really planted the seed that I'm still visualizing. So the teaching was you get what you tolerate. And the more you tolerate, the more negativity you tolerate, you pay the price for that, which it weakens your sense of self, your sense of personal power. Personal power declines the more you tolerate from other people, the more negativity you tolerate. So the magical sentence was this: intolerance raises personal power. Why it's contrary to your ideas is because intolerance has been really imbued with a bunch of negativity. Like that means somehow hating people or being violent towards people. Like I just mean don't tolerate people's negativity. Don't tolerate complaining. If you're intolerant of their complaining, you get more of a sense of your own individuality. And then you might lose some friends, but they weren't really your friends anyway. They were just, they were just, you were just a garbage disposal for their negativity. They didn't consider you their friend. They just complained to you all the time. At least I see it that way. Or you guys were friends on the level of like, we both believe that complaining is a way of living. But I have changed and you're still living that way. So we can't be friends anymore unless you want to change complaining. Stop complaining. So tolerating other people's, the communication you don't want lessens your personal power. Intolerating people's negative communications raises your personal power. And this was the idea from yesterday.
That's exactly it. And so it's incredible to see even small little applications of it. I've been noticing in my the past 48 hours since we've kind of learned that, in the sense of how do others around you act, and where is it that you're allowing others around you to act in a way that's inconsistent with what your belief is. So there are times where, I don't know, it could even be if I'm in like at home with my family or seeing like friends. At what point do you draw the line? You're like, no, like I'm done with like this negative this negativity. And how does one do that? How does one go about saying like, I can't accept your complaining. Like you need to get away from me because this doesn't happen around me. And especially when those ties are like deeper, like family or a best friend or whomever. It's like when you're going through these changes and such, and you're not sure what's up from down and who's left from right and direction and whatnot. Yet you are given these teachings and you see the truth in them, but you don't know how to apply them because it kind of feels so out there, and you're afraid of what you're going to lose. I mean, it's losing a lot of what your reality is. which is it really your reality, or is it simply a perception that you've had and you're just attached to it? So it's incredible to go through these experiences and really see and chop away and whittle away as much as possible. One of the things that I've been doing, Yogi Chris, is just continuing to question each of my ideas and like fundamental ideas, and re-examine them. Does it really make sense what I'm doing, the way I'm acting, etc.? Is this like, is this consistent with the way I want my life to be lived, or the way I want to live my life? It's incredible what happens when you start questioning these questions, but it's oftentimes, I mean, questioning the most fundamental things is what, in some ways, is a lot scarier. One of my colleagues, he has a quote on his email signature. It's like, we question something along the lines of like, we question everything except the things that we most believe, something along those lines. And so it's like I think it's Orson Welles. But the whole idea being that like, we question everything except the things that we most believe, and those are the most important ones to question. So it's really, really, it's interesting and such. So I turn it back over to you, what your thoughts are on that quote. And if you've had anything like this along your experience and your journey.
Yeah, the quote is beautiful. A beautiful quote. Really turns your attention on itself. And second thought was, I feel for you, man. You're in the system. You're breaking free of the system while staying in the system. You're in a position of life that's very prestigious. It's a cool position. It's just probably from your perspective, I don't know. I don't know. So I hope you won't be offended if I say, but it's probably a bit dorky, a bit nerdy, a bit reclusive, a bit introverted, a bit behind a computer, maybe some presentations with people. It's a different kind of people that you're around every day than the people that you would choose to be around if you were completely selective about the people you were around. You were completely in control of your social circle, meaning, like, I don't think social circles should be different from like business circles. Like, I think that's weird to have different circles. Like, why is my social circle not my business circle? Why is my business circle not my social circle? Why do I have to have two different circles? Why is my family, you know? So that's just me. But I feel for you that, you know, you're getting all of this immaculate, like personal development and this self-realization that you get with the programs that I know you work so hard with. And yet you're still kind of plugged in with the matrix in a way. And so you're kind of operating like a liberated being inside of the mind of the illusion. And that's a difficult role to play. So kudos for that. And so the last thing is really just my question. I don't even understand. What do you mean question of belief? How do you do that? What does that mean?
Questioning a belief, I guess, is sitting down with an idea that you hold, and it's something, it's like, it's unconscious, right? So an example of this might be, or an example of a belief that I've been questioning for myself is the idea of, I mean, I guess the topic that we're talking about. So enacting change I'm making to my personal ethics. So an example of this was like not tolerating any negativity around me. Like, that's a change that I am. Yet at the same time, there's people in circles of mine, I guess, whether it be yoga or work or the Masons or where have you, where there is communication where people complain. Historically, I've allowed it, and I've just not said anything with it. I've like kind of like laughed and gone along with it or whatnot. But it wasn't from a place of, I know this doesn't align with my ethics and it's okay. It was kind of more so from a place of allowing them. So I was allowing the communication and saying it was okay versus externally saying it's okay, but internally knowing that's not something I tolerate, if that makes sense. So there's communication goes in multiple directions. Even when I'm talking to you, that I'm talking to you externally, the way that my words are speaking to you. But then there's also an internal communication that's going on to my mind and to myself. And that happens as well with, as the receiver. There's the words that you're hearing, but then there's also the words that you're kind of saying outward with your mind. And so there's always a dual direction to communication, or this is something I've kind of been learning for myself. And I don't want to necessarily, I know the term dual direction is a Vince Kelvin term, and it could be, it's a misapplication here, but there's two, like a simultaneous passing of communication that's ongoing. And so it's really, really important to be cognizant of that. But what I'd been doing historically was allowing communications that I'm now realizing how it would negatively impact me. So if I allow complaining in my life, that cuts my power, because to me it says that, oh well, when I allow complaining, it's okay to be weak, because that's what at the very, like, at the most fundamental level, what I'm really saying is it's okay to be weak, and I'm buying into the illusion, saying like, yeah, that's okay, that's fine, but fuck that. Like, no, it's not okay to be weak. Brother, I think you're muted, actually.
Yeah, I said, yeah, but fuck that.
Seriously. And it's so incredible, because when you,
I don't know that you got it, because I don't know that you got it. I don't know that you got the joke, because it was mistimed, because I was muted, but you said something like, but fuck blah, 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 blah. So I was like, yeah. Or you said, but, so I said, but fuck that. Yeah, fuck that.
I get it now.
That's some deeper.
It's incredibly important,
word magic. Though. That's called masculine word magic. No, I'm just kidding. Go ahead, please. Sorry.
It's incredible, though, just allowing these, like, rechecking. That, I guess that's what I mean, is like questioning fundamental beliefs. That's a fundamental belief. It's not something that I was conscious of until a few days ago, when I wasn't really like thinking and more aware of it. But I'm bringing more awareness to it. So I'm really thinking through, when I walk throughout my day and I interact with people, am I interacting with others in a way that is consistent with the way I want the world to see me, or that is consistent with my values? I've continued to adopt the philosophy of be the best and fuck the rest. Why? Because I think it's a really good view on how to live your life, in the sense of operate from a place of strength at all times, not from a place of weakness. And I've found in my life historically that when I operate from a place of strength, I make better decisions, like straight up, whether in terms of quality, whether in terms of quality of relationships that I have, the way I spend my time, quality of the way I spend my money, quality of my health, the qualities of my masculinity in a lot of ways. So it's when I approach life from this perspective of, when I apply and plug in like the whole program or philosophy of be the best, fuck the rest, there's certain things that must fall away. And that's kind of qualities of being weak. And so it's a fundamental shift. But there's times that it's like, well, I'm entering this new program in, but the new program like does not compute with like the old program. And it's like finding those places, becoming consciously aware of them, and then choosing, okay, I'm choosing the new program here versus the old one, and correcting all of that. So it's going through all these little things and really rechecking, where is it that I had ideas that I wasn't aware of, and now becoming the new program that I want to apply.
I see. Yeah, it makes more sense the way you describe it. Yeah, I see. It's like, correct me if I'm wrong. It sounds like you're saying something like, when I'm talking on the outside, I'm saying something different on the inside, and harmonizing or examining instead of, I would, from what you described, I might, tell me if this is accurate in your, because I'm trying to understand what you're saying. Instead of necessarily maybe there's a questioning of the belief. Yeah, I see that. I see questioning your beliefs. It seems like the preliminary statement there, or the preliminary step, is to become aware of when I'm saying something different than what's happening.
Interesting. Yeah, I think so.
And it's a very spiritual, I believe, a very spiritual practice to examine what a person is saying to themselves. Talking enlightened masculinity here, everybody. Prepare to Buddha out. Because who is looking at your self-talk? Is it just your mind looking at your mind? Is your mind looking at your inner dialogue? Like, but isn't your inner dialogue in your mind? So what's going on here? Is the eyeball looking at itself here? Is the hand clapping itself? What's going on here? Is the tongue tasting itself? Like, what's going on here? How can the mind be aware of what you're saying to yourself? Man, that's such a trip. And even if it was, how do you know then whatever you're doing, like as far as changing it, is right? Like, it's the same mind. It's the same mind that's having this crazy narration inside that's trying to fix it. So, yeah, it sounds like you got to catch what you're saying to yourself and then question it. There's the questioning. The questioning would be like, why did I just say that to myself? Or there's probably all sorts of questions that you can put there. Is that what you're saying when you say question your beliefs?
I would say so, yes. Is that I make an action and then I rethink through it and say, is this action consistent with what I believe? Am I living my beliefs?
Oh, what?
So it's one thing to say.
Wow. Am I living my beliefs? Am I living my beliefs?
Yeah.
That's a powerful question. Am I living my beliefs? Wow. I want to write that one down.
Because it's so easy to say that, I don't know, I believe in charity and I believe in giving away money, and it's cool, one thing to say that, and I could tell a story about it, but for all you know, the story's fabricated for you know what I mean? Like, all of these things, if I don't speak truth and if I'm not truthful in my way of being, then the words that I say carry no weight. In other words, like, am I living the belief of I believe in truth? If I don't live the belief of truth, then I've lost power, I've lost credibility. If I don't live the belief of charity, then I've lost credibility. So it's undercutting my beingness. One thing I don't remember where I've picked this up, but it's either Vince or Arash. It's the idea that you have to, and it's actually you behaving. You have to have a particular being. So when you behave in a particular way, you have a sense of being. You have that being.
Oh man,
so,
is that, man, I might have stolen their teaching.
I don't know. Here's the thing.
He just said that.
From the same realm.
It is. Did I come up? That's so funny. I wonder, because sometimes I don't know where I learn things sometimes because I've studied so much. It's like, that's what the problem with Diamond Mind was. Diamond Mind is a program, a paid program that my teacher does, our teacher, AZD. In the beginning, for 2.5 years, you couldn't talk about Diamond Mind. But it's like, man, I don't remember what I've learned from Diamond Mind versus an event or this product or just a conversation with, like, I don't remember. And every now and then he will repeat a lesson, and I'm like, but you said that in Diamond Mind, but you just said that in an event. Can I share it? I don't know. And then one day I made a YouTube video about how all communication is telepathy. That telepathy, like, I just took an idea from my mind and put it in her mind. And I used some sounds, but I just took an idea from my mind and put it in her mind. How is that not telepathy? But apparently that was a Diamond Mind video. After I released it, I was like, fuck, I think that's a Diamond Mind video. I texted Arash, I was like, hey man, you want me to take this down? I just did it, and I think it's a Diamond Mind thing. Talk more about Diamond Mind, please. What do you want me to tell you? Go to arashsapar.com, sign up for it. I mean, I recommend my program, but I would never not recommend Diamond Mind. Why I recommend my program is because it's very customized. So it's a little more pricey, but you get more lectures, more content. You get an individualized curriculum with me, meaning we do a clarity call. You'll never get one-on-one time like that with Arash for that price. I mean, he's got hundreds of people. Now, it's Arash. So Arash's communication, I mean, what you get for his lectures and so on, it's tremendous. So I would never not recommend Diamond Mind. Or Arash Sapar, sign up for it. I've been a member for, 30 months. Wow, when you think about how much money that is, yeah, for sure. And I don't regret a single penny of it. Not a single penny. But it's so interesting because this have a being, I think I figured it out for myself. Like, I was lecturing and I was like, behave, hey guys, check this out. And I'd like started breaking down the word, like I figured it out as I was talking it. And it's have a being. have a being. And I played around with the words for a little bit, and I made a YouTube clip out of it. It's on my Instagram. I have a little clip out of it. But now you're saying that maybe it was a teaching from AZD and Vince, which would totally make sense. And I'm like, man, maybe I was like unconsciously competent of that and didn't even know. And that's why I almost like, sometimes I don't even like doing like the podcasts or doing videos or whatever, because I'm like, man, everything I say is so good, people don't even realize. Like, you didn't even realize, Akash, am I living my beliefs? What a fucking powerful question. What a great question. I would mantra out on that with my beads. Like 1,000 times I would say that to myself. What realizations come up? Like, that was such a word magic sentence. I don't even know if you see how potent it is. And maybe you do. So I don't know why I wanted to cut you off there. That was it. That's all I had to say.
It's all good, but that's the thing. Here's the thing. Like, one of the reasons why I think we're understanding some of these things at a more fundamental level is because of the amount of time that we've put into studying it. And studying it in a way that's like, it's one thing to study and give all of your time, but there's different pieces of value that one can provide. So you can provide time, you can provide money, you can provide knowledge, you can provide your labor. It's like, what value do you provide? And so to a teacher, I mean, really the only value that you could also provide pleasure. The only thing that you can really provide to a teacher, depending on the relationship that you have with them, is, or the easiest thing to provide to them is money, because it's the most fluid way of transacting. It's with this dollar value, I'm able to receive and apply it to somewhere else to receive whatever I'd like to. So money is one of the easiest forms of value exchange, simply because for this dollar bill, I know I can go anywhere and people will accept this for value exchange. But there's also bartering, right? So it's like, I could trade let's say, Yogi Chris, you're super skilled at yoga, and I wanted to learn some of your stuff, and you needed, I don't know, some type of website developer or something like that. I could exchange my time and services to you for your services. So that's another way of value exchange. What's the whole point of me saying this? Is that when you apply, or when you exchange a lot of value with a teacher, you receive a lot of value in return. And it's like, well, duh. And so over time, I mean, both of us have spent loads of, not only like thousands of dollars, but thousands of our hours as well. Straight up, we've probably spent thousands of hours, maybe even tens of thousands of hours on learning on learning communication, on learning about the mindset and how to change all of these things, and really questioning it, again, fundamental levels. I mean, we've all been brought into this world, and life teaches us what you were referring to as the matrix earlier. Life teaches us a certain way of being, or a certain being that you should have, a certain way to behave. But over time, you begin to wonder, as you become more as you inquire more about the self, you begin to wonder and think, is this being consistent with what I value? Or is this being consistent with the ideas that mean most to me? And oftentimes what ends up happening is that the ideas that you hold dear and true to you are inconsistent or incongruent with the values that society holds. And so over time, you begin to realize that the being that I'm having, the way I'm behaving, is inconsistent with the way that I truly feel. And that's where all of this comes from, I think, is really unlocking and shedding the layers of, well, I need to be the way society wants me to be, because when I'm the way that society wants me to be, it rewards me in terms of I get accepted by society. But that doesn't hold it doesn't fulfill the deeper self, who wants to express the way they want to be, and it doesn't matter to them what society thinks. I think this is the self that we're really seeking, is the one that acts in uninhibited ways, and simply is, not really caring what the external environment says, rather going fully off of what the internal says, and really living a life that's consistent with what the internal self has to say. So
Well said. I'm going to need to wrap it up on my mind right for Silent Flute Lecture, which takes place in 38 minutes. That was super valuable, and I like leaving a little teaser for people. People don't need to fully explain everything. I think people get the idea of today's talk is pay attention to what you're saying to yourself. Pay attention to what kind of negative communication you're tolerating from people around you. Pay attention to a deeper spiritual meaning to everything, that there's a self behind everything. And, question it and play around with it. And, I've been really changing my life in the last few days, looking at it like, something I heard time and time again, but it's like, life is a game. So are you playing or are you getting serious? Like, who was it that was like, maybe it was Allie. Allie was like, oh man, we didn't even get into any of that. Oh man, there were so many things. I was going to toot my own horn. There were so many ways I was like persuading girls around. My girl got, can I tell them or no? Yeah, my girl got a tummy tuck. She's had a kid years and years ago, so some excess skin around the belly, and then had a little surgery to nip the skin or whatever. So she's recovering from it. So all these people keep visiting her, and so I take the opportunity to just have fun with these women, just like moving their minds around and whatever. And I have social proof right here that she'll say whatever I want her to say, and so it's just really funny. What was the thing I was about to say? Persuading. Anyway. So it's been fun. So,
Allie was the name that you mentioned. Allie was the name that you mentioned.
Yeah, it was something about Allie. Yeah, maybe we'll cover it tomorrow. Life is a game. Yeah, and she was like, I was saying something about like winning the conversation or like winning. She's like, why are you so competitive? Like, why do you gotta win all the time? Why does it have to be a game? And I'm like, or maybe that's what she said. I forget exactly what she said. Whatever she said, whatever I answered was perfect. But it was basically like, I'm so aggressive because I'm a guy. See, this is why you're missing this. You don't have this. Your guy can't do this. Like, this is what it is. This is guy. And why am I wanting to win? Because it's a game. Why are you so serious? Life is a game, right? She was like, yeah. And I was like, then why aren't you playing? Why aren't you playful? Why are you so serious? And of course, we lose that mindset if something is emotional and you're like sad, and it's like, yeah, I mean, I get sad and I forget life is a game. But in the end, life is a game. And because why not? I don't want to get too serious about it. So if you're interested in Silent Flute, you know where to go, ninthlimb.com. And also all the descriptions are below. Also, we have a monthly talk. It is on the first Saturday of every month, which this next month, it falls on the 6th. So it's a week from today. 1 week from today is our first Enlightened Masculinity live talk. What would you like to hear about? Send us a message. We already have a poll going in the group. Join the group, the Science of Spirit, that was the other podcast. The Enlightened Masculinity group. It's a private Facebook group where we give free content. Akash has been going live a few times a week and giving some free value there, which is really great. And so join our group, get involved in the conversation. What do you want to know about? You want to know about communication, DC? We'll give you actual techniques. We've talked a little bit today. We went into kind of some ideas about it, but I think Akash, and I know myself, I stay very surface. I don't go too deep, because I'm aware of value. You guys will value it more when there's some exchange. I give you enough value that you can, if you have zero money, you can still apply things to your life and improve. If you have zero money, you can still come to the talk. The talk is a donation. We might even do the first one free. Who knows? But you got to be part of the group. So at least show some commitment. Go to Facebook.com, find Enlightened Masculinity, ask to join. Simple. If you can't even do that, then I don't want to teach you shit. Then I'll just come here and talk and enjoy my friend's company. But if you're at least willing to do that, let's start the conversation about what are you needing to get to the next level. And so with that, I'll hand it over to Akash. Any closing words, brother?
Yeah, brother, I just want to say thank you. One of the things that I've, over the past 24 hours, really realized on a deeper level is gratitude. I'm so thankful for the place that I'm at in life, the teachers that I have, and the opportunity to even be able to talk to you in this manner consistently. So that's all I've got. Check out the, as Yogi Chris mentions, check out the Facebook group, join, and check out our events. It's really going to be something that you will not want to miss. When I teach, I'm really teaching myself in a lot of ways, and I value myself very, very highly. So the teachings that you get are things that are reflections of the way that I view myself. So I hope you guys are able to make it out and join, and I want to get to know you guys better. It's going to be an incredible venue for us to really get to know you guys a bit better and hear where you guys want to go and how we might be able to support you, because between Yogi, Chris, and I, there's thousands of hours of study, as well as thousands of dollars, tens of thousands of dollars that have been spent on education. So really the value that we can provide is incredible. So with that, Yogi Chris, turn it back over to you, and I think we end up here today.
Yeah, here it is. Awesome, guys. We'll see you Saturday and Sunday at 12 p.m. So we'll see you tomorrow and next week. And namaste.